Great morning, great morning, great morning. You guys, come on in. Come on in, come on in. Let me share this broadcast. Great day. Let me share. Hey, hey, you guys. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm trying to see why is this not showing? What in the world? Hold on, y'all. Let me figure out what's going on. Hey, 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 you guys. Great morning. Something's going on. I got to figure it out. Ah, there we go. All right, we should be live on my other page. Okay. Listen, I'm like, what's going on? Why is it not showing? Let me see if it's caught up yet. Great morning, April. How are you, gorgeous? Good to see you. I'm trying to let it catch up. Hey, sissy, how are you? Good to see you. Lord, it don't want to catch up for me. What in the world? I'm just gonna have to, I guess I'm gonna have to. Mm, Let me see. Okay, save changes. Let me see if it helps if I enter the studio. Y'all, I'm just trying to figure it out, okay? Okay. It's not showing on my other page. Okay, y'all. Hey, gorgeous, how are you? Y'all, the struggle is real, honey. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to share it. I'm gonna have to share it from my other page. Lord help me. It just don't want to let me be great. It don't. Okay, let me see. Okay, now it's showing up. Okay. Hey y'all, listen. Okay. So God and I've been having some conversations. Y'all know he and I talk every now and then. You know we talk every now and then, but we've been having some conversations. And one of the things that he has really um emphasized to me is that it's time to pray. We get lots of responses to the things that are going on in our life. There'll be a lot of things going on in our life. We're experiencing a lot of things, a lot of stuff happening. Okay, I get that. But let me tell you, he said, listen, it's time to pray. Now, normally our response when something happens in our life is, okay, this is going on. We want to talk to somebody about it. He said, talk to me. He said, this is a time when we've got to pray and not only pray, but pray without ceasing. We got to pray with the understanding that is in our prayer that we're able to get the changes that we desire in our life. So if we want to see God do what it is that he's desiring to do in us and through us, it's going to require another level of prayer. Now, I don't think that's accidental. I don't think that that's a thing where I'm trying to share at the same time. Y'all bear with me. I don't think that's a thing where um God is just saying pray for the sake of praying. No, like for real, the things that you desire to see in your life, the changes that you desire to see, the things that you desire to happen in your life are going to require another level of prayer. it's time to pray. I'm not talking about, God is good, God is great. Let us thank us for his plate, for our plate in Jesus' name. Amen. By his hands, we all are fed. Thank you, Lord, for our day. I'm not talking about that kind of prayer. Hey, Mike, how you doing? I'm talking about it's time for us to pray and be strategic in our prayers. Like literally, you have something that you desire to see happen in your life. It's time for you to really put that thing on your board, put that thing on the paper, put that thing up and pray for it. Like pray for it. I'm talking about focus on the desired outcome. Okay. Believe that it is done and walk like it's done. Okay. Why? Why do we need to do that? Well, this is the deal. Let me just pause. God is tired of us trying to figure it out in our heads. And maybe this is just God talking to me. Listen, maybe this message is just for me. Maybe it's just him talking to me. Um, maybe. Maybe that's the case. Maybe I had to come on and say this because God is saying it just to me. Thanks, Mike. Maybe I'm the only one that goes through this. Maybe I'm the only one that wants to understand everything God is doing. Maybe I'm the only one who wants to know what the plan is, wants to know what the end is, wants to know what is going on or why this or why that. Maybe it's just me, right? And so if that's the case, y'all just bear with me or hop off, whatever you need to do. Um, but I gotta say this. You know, we don't understand everything. Even as a prophet, you prophesy in part and you know in part, but you don't know the whole, right? So there are certain things that God will reveal to you, certain things that he will share with you, and other things that he won't. Like you'll get part of the picture, but not all of the picture. You may get a step, do this. And that's all you get is a step. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna do that, but what happens after that? And he doesn't tell you. You want to know the end of a thing before a thing starts so that you um don't quote unquote waste your time, so that you don't get hurt, so that you don't move in a direction that you're not supposed to move in. Um you just want to know. It's like picking up a book and going to the end. Like I want to know what's at the end, right? Some people do that. They read the end before they, read the entire book. They read the end because they want to know what happens. Then they go back and they read the book from the beginning to the end because now they know what's happening at the end. And so, they can just read the end and know, okay, well, I know it's going to end up here, regardless of what goes on in the middle. But listen, what do you do when you don't know what's the end? What do you do when you don't know what's going to happen at the end of a thing? You don't know what the end is going to be. All you know is a step. All you know is an interaction. All you know is that. So then what? Well, this is what I'm telling you. It's time to pray. Because look, y'all, what we'll do is we'll get stressed out, we'll be messed up trying to figure something out that God is not ready for us to fully know. So he is not going to reveal anything that he's not ready for us to fully know until he's ready for us to know it. Period. A lot of what happens when it comes to our walk with God is dependent upon trust. And I don't know about you, and maybe it's just me, but sometimes I get tired of just trusting. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Sometimes I get tired of not knowing the end. Sometimes I get tired of just making moves and stuff doesn't look like what I think it's supposed to look like, or I'm not quite sure what's going on in this particular moment. Like, I don't know. I heard you say this, I did this, and now what? Right? Because it's not going the way I thought that it was going to go. So now what? And that's the time that we pray. So then what do you pray? Right? So listen, I'm a firm believer that because God knows the desires of our heart, that we can be honest and real with him. So I talk to him like, I don't know what's going on. What's this? I don't know what's going on. Thank you, April. I appreciate that, because I was starting to feel like it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Like, you want to be in God's will. Like, you know that you want to be in God's will more than you want anything in the world. And I can honestly say that's where I am right now. I just want to be in God's will. I want to do what God wants me to do. I want to know if what I'm doing is in alignment with him. Is this where you want me? Is this what you want me to do? Is this where I need to be right now? How do I need to move? Because I don't know. I don't know. Now, even as a prophet, you can find yourself like not knowing something. Like, it's some stuff you don't know. Like, you can see, this is the craziest thing about being a prophet. A lot of times you can see for everybody else very clearly, but you can't see for yourself clearly. Like, you see pieces, you see bits. You may see an end. You may see something in the distance. I mean, you see some stuff, but you don't see everything, right? So he'll give you instructions, he'll give you, and I think part of it is so that we don't get an overinflated sense of self, so that we don't think that we're more than we are. Thanks, Mike. Hmm. Hey, Martin. Right, Jackie? So when you're in that place, it's time to pray. And this is where I am with that. God, listen. I'm in the seek ye first place. God, I want you more than anything else. I want you. And if anything or anyone or any job or any situation takes me from you, I don't want it. Now, let me tell y'all what's interesting about this place that I find myself in. It's not where I've always been or even where I always am. It's where I am now in my life. I clearly know that there have been times when I wanted other things more than I wanted to be in his will, because I felt like his will might be in conflict with it. So I want what I want. And now I want him. And I think the reason I want God so much is that I know, even if I don't like it, even if it doesn't feel good, even if I don't understand it, like he's always going to um he's always going to do what's best for me. I just kind of came to the conclusion that one of the reasons that I could not do that with God is that I didn't really feel like um I could do that with the people in my life. You know, people always have so many motives and their own stuff. So I felt like I can't necessarily trust that what they're doing or saying is actually what's best for me without another motive, without another agenda. God. And I think when we begin to associate God with the people in our lives, our parents, our siblings, our aunts and uncles, the people that we work with, our friends, we ascribe those human characteristics, that human agenda to it. Because when you are doing this thing called life and you're walking it out and you are anointed, like you don't know if people want you in their life for you, or if they want you in their life for your anointing. Do you want me or do you want my anointing? Do you want me or do you want my gifts? Do you want me or do you want my knowledge? Do you want me or do you just want my prophetic, right? You just want to know that you got prophet on deck, like call up, get a prophetic word. Like, do you want me? Now, see, this is the thing about when you say, do you want me? See, this is where we get vulnerable, right? And this is our vulnerable place because the me includes the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, the wounds, the strengths, the challenges, like all of that stuff. Um, and sometimes we just don't know what it is that people want and what their agenda is or what their motives are, or, you know, we just don't know. It's one of the reasons that I work so hard at making sure that the gifts that God has given me, those things that He has deposited in me, that I use them for good and not for evil, because I could use them to manipulate. And so I work actively not to move in that space of manipulation, because manipulation is witchcraft. Like I had really learned how to not have to be in control of everything, how to, allow people choices, give them the opportunity to make a choice for themselves. And we often don't do that because we want what we want when we want it. But it's a beautiful thing as we talk about real love, to talk about freedom and liberty and choice. It should never be a thing where we're trying to force someone to love us or force someone to do something. But listen, y'all, this is not new. This is not new. Like, this has been around, this desire to control and manipulate and maneuver people. It's been around. So you got to understand that what God is doing in this season requires us to pray. We got to pray just to keep ourselves together. We got to pray to keep ourselves right. We got to pray to keep ourselves focused on Him, right? It's so easy to focus on what you want but not focus on God. Listen, God, I want you. Now, you know the desires of my heart. Here are the desires of my heart. God, work it out how you work it out. I just want to focus on you. And as I focus on you, you'll give me the strategies. You'll give me, the desires. You'll do that. But I gotta focus on you. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but sometimes I just be feeling like, what do you really want? Like, what do you really want? Now, the great thing is I'm blessed to have people in my life where I don't have that question. Like, I know they love me. I know they're there for me, not just because of my gift, not because of what I have in my hand, but because of what I have in my heart. How do I know that? That's the stuff that we talk about. When they say, Dr. V, listen, it's, when you da 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 da, it's how you share your heart. It's how you Share yourself, how you're just willing. That's what I love about you. I love that allow us to be a part of your life and your journey. I love that you love the way you love, and you love 100%, no matter how many times you're hurt or disappointed. Like, you love 100%. But can I be real today? Can I just be real and transparent with you guys? Not that I'm not always real and transparent, but what I'm discovering is God is taking me to deeper levels of vulnerability. Now, in the church, you're taught as a leader, like, you share some, but you keep some. You don't share everything. Well, God has me in a place where I'm having to share a lot of my vulnerabilities, a lot of stuff that I normally wouldn't share, even though I'm a very transparent person. Like, there's still some stuff that I normally just, I don't go that deep, and maybe because I don't look that deep, he's making me look deeper and share deeper. Okay. We're like onions. There's layers to this. And so some layers are easy to peel and talk about, and some layers are a little more challenging because they get closer to your core, right? So can I go to this deeper level of vulnerability with you guys? Y'all let me know if I can go deeper, because I need you to understand that I'm entrusting you with a part of me that some would say, oh, you don't know them, you shouldn't trust them with that. But I have to, because I've got to model this. Okay. So this is me modeling this for you, right? You know, uh, we know the saying that our parents say, do as I say, not as I do, right? That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is, I'm going to do it so that you see what it looks like. You can see how it affects you, and then you can go from there. Thank you, Sissy. Thank you, April. Thank you, Blick. Thank you, Mike. Okay, so I hear the song "Truth Is." Listen, um, I have, on this journey of healing, discovered some things about myself and made some associations and some connections with some experiences that I had early in life that helped me to understand me, my decision making, why I respond the way I respond to some things. Okay, so when um when we talk about our journey and healing, we've got to be able to go deep, to some of those deepest wounds. Okay, so these deep wounds are the wounds that you got to face to really become whole. So one of the things that has happened with me as it relates to men, I'm going to start with men, then I'm going to go to women. You know, my granddaddy was my hero. Like, I thought he was like the most amazing man in the world. That was daddy to me. My grandparents raised me. It was daddy and mama. And like, he was like my hero. And the thing that I could not stand was if I disappointed him. Like, I never wanted to disappoint him. Um, I never wanted to disappoint him. Like, I always wanted him to be proud of me. Um, and I knew that if I knew what it felt like when he looked at me with that look of disappointment, and I knew I didn't want to experience that, right? So it started me on a journey of really trying to be perfect, like what I thought he wanted me to be. Okay, what I thought he wanted me to be. And I learned how to be what I thought he wanted me to be and say what I thought he wanted me to say to get what I wanted. Okay. So that began me learning how to manipulate men. It started it, right? But then when I was about 14, so now 14, you view things a little differently. You now starting to like boys and girls, and you trying to have little relationships. You have a little deeper understanding of things. And I remember I was walking, and my granddaddy's truck was parked at this house, at this lady's house. And I remember going home and saying, I just saw daddy's truck at this house on da 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 street, and you know, and one of my aunts saying, "Well, don't say nothing to mama." What? Don't say nothing to mama. He's supposed to be messing with that lady. What? Not my daddy. No, daddy's not doing that. No, no, he's not doing that. Like, what are you talking about? So we begin to have this conversation, and I'm just like, well, hold up. No, that's not okay. Like, ain't nobody saying, see, that was me. I'm the one that was always like, am I the only one that sees this? Am I the only one that sees something wrong with this? Am I the only, ain't nobody gonna say nothing? Like, what's going on? Y'all gonna have to help me understand, because I don't understand what's going on. Why ain't nobody saying nothing to my mama? And why my man saying nothing to him? And why is this still going on? If this is supposed to have been going on. Like, I'm trying to understand this. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this, because this is my superhero, right? What I realized was he was a man. I discovered that this man that I had put up on a pedestal was a man. And I remember being at the house and him coming in late one night, and he was drunk, and mama asked him a question, and he said, "Don't be asking me no questions." And she said, "Well, Joe, I just was asking you." And next thing I know, I heard, and I'm laying in there like, what? Okay, my hero was at another woman's house. It's supposed to be known, common knowledge that him and this woman are going together. And then he just slapped my mama. What? And I remember laying there listening to um, him hit her, and her saying, "Joe, stop, stop, Joe, stop." And it did something to me, because how could this man that I trusted, all I wanted to do was to please him, how could he hit mama when all she did was ask a question? But he whole time is allegedly cheating. She was at home. She wasn't out. She wasn't drunk. She hadn't done anything. And I made a decision that I never wanted to be in a place where a man could do that to me. I never wanted a man to have so much access to me, or access to my heart, or that he could like hurt me like that. It hurt me. It hurt me listening to it. It hurt me. It shattered my image of the man who um was the ultimate man in my life. It shattered my image of him, changed the way I saw him. And in that moment, I felt like, if I can't trust him, I can't trust no man. Like, why would any other man be any different? And you all listen, we've got to understand that those childhood traumas We can think we're done with it. We can think that we've dealt with it. But y'all, can I tell y'all that I did not realize until January of 2021 that that is where I thought that it was my daddy, my other daddy. I thought it was in that relationship where I got these issues with men. I thought that it was just in seeing, my mom and my aunts, be in abusive relationships. I thought that that's where it was. But when I really began to sit down and look at that thing, I realized that that night that I couldn't talk about. Listen, I don't think I told anybody. I just talked about this for the first time in 21. Like, that's the first time I had talked about it. Like, I never told anybody what happened. I never told anybody what I heard. I never told anybody what it felt like. I held that thing. And you know why we do it? Because, you don't say nothing, and I had evidence of that, and when I did say something, I was called a liar. And that thing bothered me because one thing about me is I'm not getting ready to lie about that stuff. I'm not lying about that. Listen, I'm not lying about that stuff. So it created for me something that I've had to face and deal with and work through and understand that because the next side of it, the flip side of that coin was my grandmother stayed. Like, she took it, she stayed. And I'm looking at her like, you stupid as hell, because I ain't ready to stay. And no man is happy. I'm not staying. Like, to me, it was the ultimate sign of weakness. I was like, why are these women in my family so weak? Why do they just keep getting beat? Why? I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not gonna let no man. Matter of fact, I'll kill you. I need you to know up front, I will kill you dead. Touch me if you want to. I'm crazy. I'm that shit. We'll both die. We both gotta die. We both gotta die. But what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna be putting your hands on me. That's when you're not getting ready to do that. I'm not. No, no, no. And so I never could see myself in an abusive relationship, even though I was in psychologically and emotionally abusive relationships. I remember finding myself in a relationship that probably was the closest. Auntie, can you please bring me some tissue? I found myself in a relationship that probably was the closest to that, where a man actually um like threw something at me or put his finger in my face and pushed my nose, or like physically, like, was towering over me. And I'm like, okay, why are you doing this? Like, what is the point of this? And then I got to the point where I was like, listen, let me tell you something. I'll die. Oh, you'll have to kill me. You put your hands on me, you're gonna have to kill me. So before you touch me, know that that first touch is gonna have to end in me dying. You need to know that up front, because somebody gonna die. It's either gonna be you or it's gonna be me. Somebody gonna go to jail. Thank you, Auntie. Somebody gonna go to jail. Okay. And listen, I would be clear that I'll have a whole prison ministry and a girlfriend in prison, because let me tell you what's not finna happen. I ain't finna be getting run over, and I ain't finna be doing a whole bunch of fighting in prison. I'm sorry, y'all. Uh, Try to make sure I don't come back with no boogers hanging out. This was not the plan. At least not mine. So, am I good, y'all? So I put the wall up. You know that wall? That wall that doesn't allow myself to connect with someone who has the risk of me really caring so deeply for them that their absence from my life would traumatize me. The, the, the wall, the wall that meant that I only allowed myself to be in relationships with people um that didn't draw on that deeper part of me. Okay. Kept it not surface, but not deep, deep. Like they clearly loved me more than I loved them, right? Not saying that I wanted to live without them, but I could live without them, if that makes sense. Okay. So this journey, y'all, is digging up stuff for me because I know what I desire. And God knows what I desire, but He also knows what He needs from me in order to give me that. See, the one area of my life I would not fully give God is the relationship area. I'm like, God, I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to give you other stuff. I'm not going to give you that. I'm not giving you that. I don't trust you with that. Okay. And maybe my inability to trust God with that was my feeling like if I couldn't trust daddy, my granddaddy, how can I trust God? So really working through that, y'all. And I'm this is me navigating this, right? This is me navigating this because I know the kind of relationship I want. So I had a dream, and in the dream, I was getting married. I was getting married. And so I didn't know the one guy, we were getting married. I didn't recognize his face in the dream. Um, and we're getting ready to get married, and we're excited, we're getting married. His boys were there, like all the decorations were up. And this is before the wedding, but I'm talking to him, I hug him, I kiss him, and I go off, and up pulls my ex-boyfriend, the one that I loved but I never married, right? And he and I are supposed to be getting married same day. I'm getting married to two men. Y'all listen, don't judge me, I'm just telling y'all my dream. um and when I see him, okay, I he gets out of the car, I immediately run to him and I jump up in his arms, right? Now I'm getting married to this other guy, right? But I'm supposed to be getting married to him too. But my response to the other guy was I hug him, I kiss him. But this one, I run to and I jump in his arms. And, I hug him, I kiss him, we're kissing. And then I'm standing on his feet. And I wasn't going to tell this whole dream, but I got to tell it. I'm standing on his feet. I'm facing him. He's facing forward. And he's walking with me, standing on his feet. The other guy looking like, what the what? What's going on? I'm like, and he's like, the other guy's like, well, what's up with dude? I was like, he thinks we're getting married. Yeah, it was so crazy. I was like, he thinks we're getting married. And he was like, well, why would he think that? I'm just looking like, and the other guy's like, Veronica, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, and he says, listen, why does old dude think y'all are getting married? Have you talked to him? And I was like, yeah. He was like, well, when's the last time you talked to him? Today. What? You talked to him today and he thinks you're getting married and we're getting married. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Like, Veronica, what's going on with you? Listen, forget it. I'm not doing this, right? So meanwhile, other dude, him and his boys, they done, tow all the decorations down and he done left. Then the one that I really wanted, he done left. Um, and I'm standing there like by myself. I ain't married nobody now. God said, listen, you've done this thing where you went with what was comfortable to you. Your heart wasn't all the way in it. You felt like you could control your emotions in it and kind of control it. But you wouldn't let yourself experience the love that made you feel not in control, the love that made you want to throw everything to the wind and just trust blindly. Because remember, I'm standing on my ex's feet. I'm facing him and he's taking me forward. See, one of the things that happened for me is I didn't trust a man to really guide me and lead me, right? So God has had me on a journey building my trust. I'm thankful that He has placed some men in my life for me to be able to exercise that, just be able to exercise that, start trusting, and then if for whatever reason they backed out or backed up, all right, um, or whatever, then I was able to recover. I am like in that place where now I'm ready for that, but that's frightening. So check this out. This is why we have to pray. See, we've got to ask God to reveal the hidden things in our heart. Those things that have been stopping us, blocking us, keeping us from being able to move forward that we don't even realize. Those things that maybe we haven't talked about. Those traumas that we haven't addressed. Listen, that's something from my childhood that happened when I was 14. I'm 55, getting ready to be 56. So we're talking something that happened over 42 years ago, but still very much um, has impacted me and my life and my journey and my relationship. So when people ask me, how is it that you've been married 5 times? One thing is that I've always believed in love and marriage. I knew I was a wife. I knew I was a wife, wanted to be a wife, but I didn't want to be hurt. Hmm. I didn't want to be hurt. And so when it looked like I was getting ready to be hurt or I was starting to feel hurt or whatever, I would start detaching myself from it. I would start detaching. So anytime that I've been married and I've ended up ending the relationship, I ended all my marriages. Anytime I ended a marriage, it was, I had already disconnected from it before I ever, got to the point where I officially ended it. I'd started disconnecting. I'd started feeling like, this is not going well. When I'm trying to do everything I can to salvage it, but you two people, it takes two people. Like let me start disconnecting. Let me start disconnecting so that I can so when it comes time to pull the trigger, I can pull the trigger and not be totally destroyed, right? Not totally destroyed. I'll be able to recover from it. It'll hurt. I'll go through the hurt. It's gonna be some devastation, but I won't be devastated to the point where like I won't be able to move on. So that's how I've been married 5 times. But if we can identify those things earlier, sooner, we can avoid um, having to go through all those marriages. If we understand what our purpose is and we're working in our purpose and we're looking for our purpose mate, our 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 purpose partner, our mission mate, the people who are aligned to do and they have the same purpose that we do and the mission that we do, and we're able to come together and make each other better and strengthen one another and build one another up and help one another get to that place and that destination, then we're looking for the right thing. We understand the concept of marriage and what marriage is about. If we can deal with those past traumas, then we can begin the healing process so that when we are going into these, we one, know who we are, we two, know our purpose, right, and our mission, right, and three, we're healed so that those things that would prevent us from aligning with someone who can be who we need and what we need and desire in our life for real, we can be that and we can be vulnerable enough to experience it. See, a lot of times it's our inability to be vulnerable within the context of that relationship that prevents us from really having it what it is that we desire. And it's not that we don't desire it, we desire it, but our heart is not prepped for it, it's not primed for it. We won't allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to receive it. It's time to pray. It's time to pray and ask God to strengthen you for the journey, to give you desire for Him that supersedes your desire for a husband or a wife, your desire to be great or famous, your desire to impact the world, like your desire for Him, let that be greatest. But that means that you're going to be giving up some stuff. And I guess that's why yesterday I had to talk about that there is sacrifice, that while there is freedom, with that freedom there's also accountability and responsibility, and there's sacrifice that goes along with you achieving that, with you getting to that place. Y'all, listen, this thing is not easy, but it's necessary. It requires vulnerability. Male and female, it requires vulnerability. I'm grateful because I have some people in my life that I can allow myself to be vulnerable enough with, to say what I feel and where I am, and know that it's a safe place, and know that it is a place where they can see me and even see the broken parts of me and still love me and cover me and protect me and pray for me. You see, we've gotten so used to, yes, Mike, broken to behold. That's good. That's a book. Okay. We've gotten to the point where we've gotten so used to those times we've allowed ourselves to be vulnerable, people using it against us. And so then we stop being vulnerable. We stop because these hoes ain't loyal. You can't trust them. You try to have genuine, real relationships with people, and you think they're people that you can trust, and you think they're people that have got you, but they trying to get you. Okay. You think they're people who've got you, but they're trying to get you. They're waiting for a chink in your armor. They're waiting to see something that they can use against you. They're waiting to be able to attack you. And sometimes it's knowingly and sometimes it's unknowingly, right? Because sometimes people resent the fact that you appear to be so together. And y'all know me, y'all know I'll be quick to tell you I'm not perfect, baby. Listen, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, by any leap of the imagination. I am far from perfect. I have flaws. I have character flaws. I am a work in progress. And I will tell you, I am a work in progress. You ain't got to guess. You ain't got to do none of that. I'm going to tell you. You're going to know what my issue is. Hey, Annette. Hey, Monica. Right, right. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The backstabbers. Okay. And that's literally it. They want people to look at them the way people look at you. Mm, I feel deliverance, honey. Listen, they look at you and they see how people this is what I had to come to grips with. We be sitting around trying to figure out why anybody jealous of us. Why are they jealous of us? Like, I'm going through this. I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this. But what they see is what you do have, right? So I had to come to grips with the fact that there were people who began to, the thing that made them love me was the same thing that made them despise me. How people responded to me, how people love me, how people treat me, how people spoil me, and there were people who wanted to be treated like that, but they weren't getting treated like that, and they felt a way about me getting treated like that. That's why you need to look in pictures. When you take pictures, when pictures are being taken, look at people and look at people in the background and off to the side and how they look at you, because you'll discover a lot. Like, I discovered that someone that I considered like my friend, my best friend, I discovered that she low key like hated me. Like, she hated me. Like, it was, and I saw it in her eyes, right? In a picture. I'm taking a picture with somebody and I saw it in her eyes. Now, I didn't see it until later. By the time I saw it, the damage was already done. She'd already turned all these people against me. She'd already told all these lies. And listen, this is why I tell people all the time, if you want to know if I said something or did something, ask me. Can't nobody tell you like me. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you the truth. You ain't got to guess. You ain't got to wonder. I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is the truth. The truth set you free. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to set you free and me free, because we're not doing all that. So you got to understand that there are people who are jealous of you. You may not think you have anything to be jealous of, but what you have, they desire. Okay. So even though I didn't have a lot of money, it was my anointing, it was my gift, it was how people responded to me. Right. So you just got to know that. And then you got to forgive those people. Understand that they were where they were. They did what they did. It was what it was. It wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to build you. Okay. It was meant to strengthen you. It was meant to thicken your skin. um I know God has shown me some stuff from my life, and because he's shown me these things, I know my skin has to be thick. Like I can't just be devastated because somebody talked about me or they don't like me, because people gonna talk about me big time because of where God is taking me. And they're gonna always have something to say. They're gonna always criticize and critique. But I know my calling, my walk, my journey. And see, when you understand that, then it makes other stuff make sense, right? It makes other stuff just make sense. So what God is doing in my life now is beginning to really make sense. How is it that I have two daddies in one, well, really three daddies in one lifetime, because my granddaddy was my daddy, and then my daddy who raised me, and then my biological father. So and each of them had a season. Hey, mm. So even though my daddy was in my life, my granddaddy was my daddy until he died. He died when I was 14. 14. And my other daddy and I, we got closer, in my 20s, late 20s, going into my third, like around 30. By the time I was about 30, that's when our relationship really got better. And he died when I was 55. And then my other daddy came into my life. So it's like eras of my life, right? So in all of this, we have to pray. We have to pray because there's a healing that God desires to do, a healing that God desires to do. I'm talking about a deep healing. I'm talking about that healing that goes to your core. I'm talking about it gets to the core of the matter, the core issues of your life. What are the things that you've been allowing to hold you back because you wouldn't look at them? You wouldn't face them. You wouldn't allow yourself to fully experience them. You wouldn't expose them because you didn't want them to be used against you. Listen, we get taught through our environment, through religion, that we got to be perfect. And it's always this fear thing. I just saw Larry Lab talking about Creflo Dollar, saying that he was wrong about how he approached tithing. And y'all know I've been telling y'all this. I've been telling y'all about that fear thing, that being afraid of God. So that's why we serve him. Listen, I'm telling you, I have a respect for God. So I fear the Lord in that sense, right? I don't love God and I don't do what I do for God because I'm afraid of going to hell. That's not why I do it. I don't want to go to hell. I'm not going to hell, but that's not why I do what I do. I do what I do when it comes to God because I love God. See, there's a difference. And so what we've done is we've taken the tactics that um people have used to control and manipulate and use that in relationship to God and people. And I recognize that God doesn't do that. Jesus nowhere in his journey tried to make anybody do anything. He said what he said, he showed what he showed, he did what he did, and he kept it pushing, right? God always gave choices. So if God gave choices and Jesus gave choices, why are we trying to manipulate people? God never manipulated. My nephew asked, why would God give them the opportunity to pick from that tree? Because God wasn't trying to create robots or clones. He created us that he might love on us and we might love on him, right? Freely, freely love. So if you're in a relationship and you got to manipulate and maneuver to make that person love you or want to be with you, you out of order. If you are in a church and they manipulate and try to control you and use fear, well, if you don't do this, you going to hell. And if you don't do this, this is going to listen. Not that God doesn't sometimes give warnings, he does. But if that is the tactic that's used, that's not love. And they don't love you, they're using you. That's not a healthy love. Let me say that. It may be their version of love. It may be the only love that they know, but it's not a healthy version of love. That's not healthy love. Healthy love gives choices, which is why I could say to my ex-husband, number 4, when he was saying, well, he thought he had feelings with someone. Well, you need to go explore that. You need to figure that out. Go explore that. We married. Go explore that. Spend time with her, take her out, do whatever you need to do so that you're clear on what you want. Okay. Once you figure that out, then get back with me and let's see where we go from there. Okay. Because what I'm not going to do is fight for something when you want to be with somebody else. I'm not going to do that. That's not how I'm wired. I'm not wired like that. So it always made me a little different. I've been a little different. Like I'm a little different. I knew I didn't want to be with someone who didn't want to be with me, who really wanted to be with somebody. They wanted to be with me, but they really wanted to be with somebody else. Okay. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go, find your way, be happy, and I'm gonna go find somebody who really wants to be with me, right? So we've got to understand that real love does not constrict, it expands. It creates space, it creates freedom, it gives people the ability to move, maneuver, process, go through whatever they got to go through to determine if this is really what they want. So, what the enemy does is he begins to try to create fear and anxiety. Oh, you going to end up by yourself. So, okay, prime example. Okay, I might have been a little scandalous in my youth, right? So anyway, I was dating, I was dating multiple people, right? So I remember this one night, I should say. Um, I ended up with three different guys in my house and I let all of them in. Okay. Three different guys. You know, one, he was the person that like he would, take care of my car, make sure my car was washed, bring me some food, right? Another one, he was the one that I would hang out with. We'd have good intellectual conversation, right? And then there was one that the sex was just off the chain. So we couldn't talk about nothing for real. He was dumber than a rock. But the sex was amazing, right? So they all ended up at the house. My girlfriend's there. And so we're all sitting there, we're watching a movie. Well, one leaves. I'm like, all right, bye. I'm gonna see you later. And so two of them decided they were gonna outweigh each other. I'm like, listen, we're not doing this. So the one that I really wanted to be with, which was the one that had the good sex, right? Because that's really what I wanted. I said, let me talk to you for a minute. I said, listen, this is what I need you to do. I need you to leave. And so this dude can leave, right? I need you to leave. And then I want you to come back. So act like you're leaving and then just come back so that, I can get him on out the door, right? So he was like, okay. So he left. And then the other guy left. And then the other guy that was supposed to be coming back didn't come back. Kind of similar to my dream, right? Like these choices, who you really want and what you understand. I say that to say this. We can have these plans in our mind, right? We can have what we want to happen. But listen, do you not know God shut all of it down? He shut all of it down. He's like, no, it ain't gonna be none of that tonight. None of that tonight. You've got to trust God enough. I've got to trust God enough to give him the desires in my heart without me trying to make them manifest, without me trying to make it happen, without me trying to force it, push it, maneuver it, but just really trusting him and saying, God, more than anything, I want you. More than anything, I want what you have for me. Now, if it be that person, great. If it's not, great, God, because I know that whatever you have for me, it's gotta, if it ain't him, oh, it's gotta be amazing. God, I know it's really been, I can't even imagine it being better than him. It can be better than him. What? God, I'm here for it. You've got to trust God with all of the desires of your heart, all of them. All of them. God knows us. He knows us. He knows our desires. He knows what we want. But that's why healing becomes so incredibly important. We have to heal. We have to heal. Healing is so key, which is why I'm doing the Healing Daddy Wounds retreat. July 28th through the 30th, or the 30th through August 1st here in Columbia, South Carolina, right? For the next 24 hours, it's still $350. And this is for the women. Men, I've got something coming for you guys. But this is for the women. It's still $350. Let's heal these daddy wounds, these wounds inflicted by men, husbands, um, the men in our lives, right? So that we can be clear to really love God, worship God, serve God, trust God, be who he's created us to be. be the woman, the feminine woman that he's created us to be in our lives, and really be free. I'm convinced, and I'm gonna say it. People can disagree with me. I don't care about that. That doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna say this: we have a lot of lesbians because of daddy wounds and wounds inflicted by men in women's lives. A lot of women have become lesbians by default because of the trauma that they experience. I'm not saying that everyone who is a lesbian, that's why they're a lesbian. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this retreat is to try to change people. I'm saying I just know, I know quite a few women who are now lesbians because of the traumas that they experience with men in their lives. And I know this. I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna say it with my chest, okay? I know this. I know that God desires healing for everyone for those wounds, regardless of whether you stay in a relationship with a woman or not. God desires healing. He desires to heal those wounds so that whatever you do from a place of choice and not from a place of force. Like this is your no, no. So listen, we've got to heal. We've got to heal. We've got to heal. Listen, I know I've said after a breakup, after I went through the full, listen, I'm just gonna become a lesbian. I'm gonna become just a full-blown lesbian. Then I think about that thing and I be like, well, after all that's over, well, I just want some more. Like I want more than that. Like I can't walk down the street holding no woman's hands. I'm about this my woman, my book. I just can't. I'm not saying anything's wrong with. I'm listen. I'm talking about me. Okay, I'm talking about me. So you got to understand that healing is necessary for all of us. All of us need healing. And the reason that our families are so devastated, the reason that our churches are torn apart, the reason that our communities are so unstable, the reason that Black people find themselves in some of the conditions that we're in is that we have not healed. We got to heal. We got to heal. So look, you guys, go ahead, put your deposit down. It's $700. If you don't do the 350, it's going to be $700, but you can put your $250 deposit down. If you can't do the 350 now, afterpay is available. But I know this God is up to something. He's doing something. He's working something out, and I'm excited about God, about what God is doing in our lives. Then this the last thing. Listen, if this message blessed you, if you felt that thing in your heart and in your core, and you feel compelled to sow a seed, right? To put a seed in the ground, put a seed in the ground. Cash App $ DRV Walters, Cash App $ DRV Walters, and let the Lord bless that seed. Let me tell y'all something. This is what I'm gonna tell y'all. And I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm telling you, not to scare you, none of that. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you. Listen, people have been sowing seeds in my life, and they have been seeing the results of those seeds manifest like that. Baby, it's amazing the things that he's done. It's not always money, it's raises, bonuses, it's new jobs, it's money. Some of it's coming in the form of money. Like God is just moving. It's freedom, it's liberation, it's growth, it's healing. April said, facts, I am a witness. April put it to the test, honey. April put it to the test, and she has seen it manifest in her life time after time after time. She's like, Dr. V, since I've been sowing into you, girl, look, let me tell you something. My life is changing. Listen, but that's what God desires to do. A man of God told me, he said, I see you, you're a multiplier. That's what happens when I'm in your life. I multiply, right? I multiply. I'm a multiplier. So I'm excited about everything that's going on. I'm getting ready to head to Tampa, Florida tomorrow. You guys, this weekend I'm in Tampa. This week I'm in Tampa. I got birthdays coming up. My son Adam's turning 21. My granddaughter Brooklyn is turning 2. It's my daughter-in-law's birthday the same day as Adam's. And then on the 10th, it's my grandson TJ's birthday. I got a lot of birthdays going on. But this week I'm going to be in Tampa, Florida. Sunday at 5. We're going to do live at 5. So we're going to have a Sunday worship experience. We're going to let God be God and do what God does, which is show out. That's what he does. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area, put that on your calendar. I'm going to try to get a flyer out for that. Just know this, know that God is doing something. He's up to something amazing and miraculous. Let's heal. Let's get whole. Man, I don't want you to faint and I don't want you to give up. So men, if you're interested in participating in something that I do to help men heal, because healing is very important, do it for the men. Do it for the men. And I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on it. I got some things in process. But I'm gonna work on the dates for that, and manifesting that and putting that together. And it won't just be me, it'll be myself and a man. Because I think that's important, that you get both. With the women, it's gonna be myself and a man, because I think it's important that you get that balance. It's important. See, we try to do everything solo, and it's not the way it's supposed to. All right, Blick. Yes, do it for the men. That's what I'm talking about. I'm telling y'all seriously. I want to see people heal. And I know I'm gifted to speak life into men. I'm gifted to speak men into destiny and into purpose. I'm gifted, and this is an anointing from God. I'm gifted to inspire men. And that's something that I had to learn how to use, and use it for God's glory and God's good, right? So it's like a two-edged sword now. It can go either way. So I've committed myself, and I've been doing this for a while. I used to tell people, I said, listen, I had to learn how to use my gifts for good and not for evil, right? Because evil is when you use it to manipulate people, control people, use people. I'm not interested in that. I want to see people heal. And too many men have been damaged by the mouths of women. Too many men have been damaged by the actions of women. And so it's time for them to start having women speak life into them, and to really minister to them and let them know how amazing they are, especially men of color. Men of color have gone through so much. And so every opportunity I get, I'm going to speak life into a man, period, but especially into a Black man. Especially into Black men. But I'm gonna speak life into a man anytime I get the opportunity, but especially a Black man. So just know that when you guys say do it for the men, like for real, I'm going to do that. So stay tuned for that. You all, look, I'm getting off here, but know that I love you guys to life, and life more abundant. Don't miss the blessings that God has for you because you're afraid to be vulnerable. Don't miss the blessings that God has for you because you're afraid to peel back the layers of that onion, because it may result in some tears. It's okay. Onions are designed to release a chemical that releases tears. And sometimes those tears are just needed to wash away the pain, the hurt, the disappointment, the regret of the past. It's time to pray. It's time to pray. It's time to give it all to God. It's time to let Him have it and let Him have you. The Word of God says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all its righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Let's put God to the test. I love you guys to life, and life more abundant. Have an amazing, incredible, and epic day.